Welcome back to Talk It Out with Marla P, where we dive deep into the stories of incredible people who are making a real difference in the world. I'm your host, Marla, and today we have an extraordinary guest with us, Dr. Kim, a board certified internist with over 23 years of experience in healthcare. Dr. Kim is also a certified advanced grief recovery method specialist and the creator of the DoctorKSD Evolved brand. Her mission is to empower those who've been held hostage by life challenges and help them heal, break free to live with purpose. Dr. Kim is not only the owner of JKL Healthcare Services, where she combines holistic and allopathic medicine to help her patients thrive, but she also hailed as a transformer, helping people heal the mind, body, and spirit. She's here today to share her story, her philosophy on healing, and her unique approach to personal empowerment. Welcome, Dr. Kim.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Sure. I'm so thrilled to have you on. Your background is so inspiring and very diverse. What initially drew you to medicine, and how did your journey evolve into integrating both traditional and holistic practices?
Well, you know what? I think I might have been about 14, 15 years old, and
Okay.
my aunt went into labor and
Oh,
had her baby in the car.
oh,
She didn't quite make it to the hospital. But hearing my cousin actually was the one driving her there, and hearing him describe the whole thing was so fascinating. It started me doing all kinds of research about babies and learning about that. I was drawn to medicine. I went
oh.
into medical school wanting to be an OBGYN. And after learning about infant mortality and maternal mortality in our community, I
Mm-hmm.
really wanted to go and just do everything that I could to figure out why and do my part in, cutting those numbers down. Well,
Right.
when I got to med school and I started going through the different clinical rotations, I did love OB, but I
Mm-hmm.
fell in love with internal medicine. So
Oh,
being able to take care of the whole person, being
mm-hmm.
able to see them and they're sick, and then have them come back and know that I've done the right thing, they're feeling better. Or if they're not feeling better, then we can do something else. But also making sure that they're eating, making sure that their houses are equipped for what they need it to be, making sure that they're in a safe environment, making sure they have food.
Right.
That really fascinated me. So I kind of
Oh,
jumped ship and became an internal medicine specialist. And yeah, I've been practicing since 2000. I love it.
nice.
I
Oh,
still love what I do.
and that's important.
Yes, especially in this day and age,
Yes.
because
Yes.
our patients, our patients need an advocate,
Mm-hmm.
and I treat everybody. But I do know I was one of the doctors who, before COVID, felt as though I did not really see disparities. But I realized I didn't see disparities because I hold all of my specialists accountable. You have no
Okay.
choice but to treat my patients with the same type of love and care that you would anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Honey, after COVID, I was slapped in the face with reality. And
Oh,
I was on the phone arguing with colleagues
oh
because
my
they did
goodness.
not, yes, because they did not give the same standard of care to minorities as they were giving to white patients.
Wow.
Talk about flabbergasted, angry,
Yes.
disappointed. So many emotions. I could not believe it, but now my journey is my everybody needs to make sure that they're being taken care of properly, but
That's true.
our people, minorities, need to make sure that they are seeing doctors who care about them. And
Right.
and they need to be educated. They need to take part in their care. It's not
That's
okay
right.
to just accept the word. I don't know. I would tell you stay away from Dr. Google, but at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, I don't mind my patients coming in and asking. Because the
Right.
thing is, if I know what I'm doing, I should not have an issue answering a single question and
That's
not
right.
with any other physician. So,
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. You're known for your unique approach of healing the mind, body, and spirit. Can you talk a little more about what that philosophy means to you and how it shows up in your day-to-day work?
oh, absolutely. So when I first started practicing medicine, I realized that we're chasing behind medical issues instead of trying to prevent it. So
Right.
my first step was prevention, making sure
Mm-hmm.
patients understood how important preventive medicine is, even though that is not what doctors actually are trained for. Doctors are trained to treat the disease you have. So
Right.
I had to get my patients educated. It's
Mm-hmm.
important for you to do ABC so that we can prevent these things from happening. My philosophy was get it before it gets us.
That's right.
Well, God gave me the healing the mind, body, and spirit because what I realized also is that if you have a perfectly healthy body, but your mind is not right and your spirit is not right, well, you have
Mm,
nothing. And
that's right.
here's the trifecta. We need all three things in alignment for us to really be able to experience the full life that God created us to live.
That
So
is so
I pray with my patients. I have the prayer of salvation up on the wall. We have Christian music playing the whole time. And it's
right.
because if I can give them the atmosphere, we can look, usher in the spirit every single day
Yes,
and
ma'am.
have the spirit touch them. That is the beginning of a whole different life that they could be living. So, yes, you need the trifecta mind, body, and spirit need to be healthy. Because if all
Mm-hmm.
three are not, then you will not be able to fully enjoy the life that you were created to live.
That is so true. And that takes me to my next question, actually. How do you define living life with purpose on purpose? And what are some of the key steps people can take to start living this way?
So, live life with purpose on purpose was the motto I came came to or that God gave me
Mm-hmm.
after my son passed away. My 9-year-old son passed away August of 2019.
Sorry to hear that.
Devastating. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about a church girl. I've been reading my Bible probably since I was 8. I was saved. I prayed the prayer of salvation at 12. You know how people say I've been running for Jesus a long time? I
Yes, ma'am.
literally have been running for Jesus a long time. My mom passed away in 2009, the year my son was born. And in my
Wow.
mind, I I thought, which is still how I feel,
Mm-hmm.
this is how the circle of life goes. This is how life is. You're created to come here, impact the world, then you grow old, you go to heaven. It made
Mm-hmm.
perfect sense.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
my son passing away at 9
Mm,
shattered my whole life.
I'm sure.
I found myself trying to understand why I couldn't put the pieces back together. And
Right.
I literally found myself just having conversation with God and hearing him say, "Do you really believe in me?"
Mm,
And I'm like, God, yes, I believe in you. I absolutely do. But I had to take a moment to really think about it because it's almost as though we're on autopilot with this, right? You
yes.
go to church. That's what you're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to do every Sunday. You say your prayers at night. But how
Mm-hmm.
many of us have really fostered a relationship with God? And so while I kept saying, I trust God, I believe God, you don't know. You
Mm-hmm.
really don't know until you are face to face with a shattering experience that you have to lean and depend on Him.
I agree with that.
And so this was the moment when God started revealing so many different things to me, like we are created for a purpose. Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5 says that before you were formed, I knew you.
That's right.
And before you were born, I set you apart.
Mm-hmm.
Not you and your family, not you and your friends, but he set us apart. Each
Mm-hmm.
individual is a unique individual, like our fingerprints. We were created for a purpose, and
Yes.
we know what the purpose is because it's the thing that comes natural. It's the
Right.
thing that we are drawn to. Is the thing that makes perfect sense to us, and it may not make perfect sense to other people. But so many don't live their life with purpose because, for whatever reason, we have all been conditioned to live like clones.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is trying to be like everybody else.
Yes, ma'am.
We're not created to be like everybody else. We're created to be unique. We're each our own individual piece of a puzzle.
That's right.
Lord, if we have the same piece of the puzzle will never get finished, right?
That's correct.
So we're supposed to live with purpose and on purpose. What
Mm-hmm.
we have inside of us, God put there for a reason. The only way we can impact the lives we were created to impact is to live with that passion, which is the purpose for which we were created. And if we do that, then we're doing our part. That's how evolution is supposed to happen. So that's
I
what
love
live
it.
life with purpose on purpose means. Live the life that God created you to live, nobody else. And nobody else can tell you, not family nor friends, definitely not society.
That's so true. That's so true. Beautifully spoken. Can you give us an example of a time when integrating holistic and allopathic methods truly made a difference for one of your patients?
Oh, absolutely. Well, let's take I'll say patient A, one
Okay.
of my beautiful ladies here. Um, so when I say allopathic and holistic, we're talking about the traditional medicine and natural,
Right.
natural medicine. And so we've been treating her blood pressure for some time now. And
Okay.
what happened is every time she comes, her pressure is just really, really high. So I inherited her that way with a really high pressure. So what I had to do initially is I need to give the prescription because the first thing that we should be doing is protecting the organs. If your pressure is really high, we need to get the pressure under control. Then we can work on figuring out how do we get you off of this medicine. So
Right.
we get it under control with the blood pressure medicine. Then we talk about diet. Now we talk about getting rid of a lot of that sodium that is just a natural thing in a lot of our diets. And I guarantee you, if you have plate lunches that you're eating, that plate lunch probably has about 3,000 milligrams of sodium. Just,
Yes, ma'am.
just that plate lunch and not including anything else. We're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to have 2,500 milligrams or less a day. So we got that under control. Then we talked about the stress. People
Mm.
underestimate stress. So once we understood what her life was like, she was running here, there, everywhere, doing everything for everybody, and
Mm-hmm.
helping her understand that, okay, you have to be good yourself before you can be good for other people.
That's true.
All implementing all of those things, exercising, sleeping. It
Yes.
turns out that she had sleep apnea as well. So we had to end up getting her a CPAP device. So we're treating all of these things, and her pressure now is getting a little on the lower side. So we have to pull back with the medicine now because from the natural supplements and
Mm.
natural way of doing things, lifestyle modifications, now she doesn't need the dose that she was on before. And
That's right.
then implementing some natural supplements, actually, I was able to get her taking half of what she was taking before. So,
Wow.
so yes, there's so much more than just being given a prescription.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes for cholesterol, diabetes, every medical issue you can think of. there's probably some type of a natural lifestyle modification you can implement that will help you to get off of the medicine. And if not completely off, probably taking a significantly lower dose of that medicine. That's what medicine is supposed to be.
Right.
Because if we just start giving pills for everything,
Mm-mm.
I mean, we'll have patients truly taking 20 pills. And while there are some people who need multiple pills, I would like to say that there's very likely a lot going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. But if you
Mm-hmm.
follow the lifestyle modifications, I promise you, you will be able to get off of a lot of medications. But
That is so true.
you got to do your part.
Yes. Yes. Have to change that mindset.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And there are some patients who are just like, look, I'm not gonna do that. My men, the men mainly are like, look, I'm not gonna do that, doc. So might as well give me a pill. And honest, I will limit to, I prefer my patients just be honest with me because
Yes.
don't have me just running around like a hamster
Mm-hmm.
on a wheel and you're just not gonna eat right. So we'll just give you medicine based on what you're eating. But for
That's true.
those who don't want to have to take the pill, there is a simple solution. If you
Mm-hmm.
do your part, you eat right, you exercise, you get enough sleep, then it is a simple thing. And something people don't like to hear, meat is a strong, strong inflammatory product.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why vegans do so well. But I tell you what, for the vast majority of patients, when I tell them, if you cut down on the meat, cut what? I need my meat. I go, no, you really don't need it. You might
You
want
want
it, but
it.
you don't need it. So it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible though.
Mm-hmm. I love
So
it. Okay. So, as a certified advanced grief recovery method specialist, you've worked with many people experiencing grief. How do you help people process grief in a way that allows them to heal and move forward with their lives?
so it's another thing that God imparted to me that
Mm-hmm.
we all associate grief with the loss of a loved one. And that
Yes,
is a major cause, absolutely. But grief can be caused by any of the many losses that people experience in their lifetime.
I
And
agree.
the thing is, from the time we are little, every negative, impactful moment we've had
Mm-hmm.
has probably left some form of grief inside because what grief really is unexpressed emotions.
Yes.
And the more those unexpressed emotions stay inside, the
Mm-hmm.
deeper the roots they're able to dig deep inside of us, and the more toxic they become.
That's
And
true.
we have a lot of people who have been walking around grieved and they don't even know it. So,
Mm-hmm.
what I do is I help people to understand what has caused them grief. And I help them to understand why they deal with grief the way they deal with it. So many, the people who are like, that's just how I am.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Mm-hmm.
no, baby, that's not just how you are. That's how you have been molded because every loss we've experienced has molded us into who we are right now.
That is so true.
The problem with that is those walls we put up when we were little were protective.
Mm-hmm.
You had horrible parents, if you had friends who just clowned you, backstabbed you, betrayed you, your first love you thought was going to be the love of your life forever and ever, and then they got another boo on you. All of
Mm-hmm.
those things, teachers
Yeah.
talking down to you,
Yep.
all of those things have left a lasting impression inside. And if you have not properly dealt with those things, those same walls you put up as a child to protect yourself, they
Mm-hmm.
become hindrances in your adulthood. They don't serve as protection in the adult life. What they serve as are boulders and obstacles and roadblocks that keep you from living your life to the fullest potential. It's why you can't move up in the company. It's why you can't seem to keep a good, healthy relationship. It's why every time you become a part of something, there's always some kind of chaos and commotion.
Mm-hmm.
So I help people to recognize what that is, deal with it, and recover from it. And then I give them the tools that they need to be empowered so that they can live life with purpose on purpose. We're meant to live life to the fullest.
Absolutely.
I help them to realize that, and I help them to get rid of the things that are keeping them from living that life.
I love it. I love it. So like what are some of the most common misconceptions people have about grief and how do they get in the way of true healing?
Mm. Time heals. That's a
Mm,
lie.
tell me about it. I
If
lost
that
my
is
mom in 2022.
okay,
It's
because so after I lost my son, I was sitting there thinking to myself, because people come with the cliches, those phrases. And
mhm.
why? Because those are the bad tools that have been passed down from generation to generation. And
Yes.
time heals, somebody said. I'm thinking, unless I wake up one morning and my child is there and I just was having a bad dream, no,
Mhm.
baby, time will not heal this.
That's
Um,
right.
be strong. No, if I can't be strong for me, I can't be strong for anybody else.
That's right.
Or don't cry. Yes, cry.
Hmm.
If you realize, if you pay attention, the minute somebody starts to cry, it's the first thing people say. "Oh, baby, don't cry. Don't, yeah,
Yeah.
yes, cry. Get
Hmm.
those nasty emotions out. Don't allow the toxicity to just stay inside and ruin your life. There are so many myths that have been associated with grief, and they
Hmm.
have been passed down from generation to generation. These are the things that we have to debunk and get rid of.
That's
And
right.
the worst of all for me, which let me tell you, I wanted to fight literally. The Lord must have needed an angel.
Yeah.
Ooh, girl, I tell you, I literally wanted to fight, and I had to get to the point where I am repenting before the Lord because I had the thought that, girl, I'm gonna throat punch you. Don't you dare say it. But it wasn't until my baby boy went to paradise that I realized these are things I used to say to people. And I felt horrible. I'm telling you, I'm
Mhm.
like on this floor crying, thinking,
Right.
I can't believe I did not realize this before. Because even when my mom passed, again, in my mind, the combination of being the church girl and being a physician, I knew my mama was in heaven. I knew she was saved. I knew she loved the Lord. At some point, I'm gonna go and meet her.
Right.
But what I realize now is it's relationships.
Hmm.
We were never meant to be separated from people we love. That was on Adam and Eve. But that's
Right.
why it hurts so much. It hurts so much because we were never meant to be separated from the people we love.
Hmm.
Being separated from my baby boy like that, oh, so now it makes sense to me that when you're separated and you're not ready to be separated, that's hard.
It is.
And you don't get over that. But what
No.
we can do is we learn how to recover and we
Hmm.
learn how to survive,
Right.
that we can keep living with purpose. Because, I was sitting there thinking to myself, Lord, dying is a part of life.
It is.
How are we supposed to keep living with purpose if it hurts like this?
Hmm.
And unless you are tethered to God, girl, unless you are truly nourishing a real relationship. When the Bible says, when we are weak, he is strong, that's what
Hmm.
that means. Because I'm telling you, I was in all kind of bits and pieces. I was worse than Humpty Dumpty. But God literally just one day at a time.
That's all you can do.
That's it.
If
And
I can just get through today,
yes,
that's all I
that,
look forward to.
that's all you can even see. You can't see beyond that. All I can see is right now.
Absolutely.
But as God keeps carrying us, the one set of footprints in the sand,
Mm-hmm.
that's God carrying us. And the next thing you know, you've gotten through the month.
That's
Next
right.
thing you know, you've gotten through the year. And then
Mm-hmm.
the next thing you know, people are looking at you and saying, man, how are you so strong? How are you doing this? And it's like,
God.
that's all God. 'Cause look, I don't know what the Lord letting y'all see. I don't feel like what you're looking at, look.
I know.
But it's all God. And
It's
it's
God.
just a testament of how amazing God is.
Mm-hmm.
And people want to blame him and be angry with him. But
Mm-hmm.
another revelation I had is, can you imagine God is just watching Jesus be crucified,
Mm.
not for anything he did, for us, for the people at that time, but for us as well, because it was for all of our sins.
That's
But
right.
the amount of love that he has for us, that he would endure it and make Jesus endure it.
Mm-hmm.
If he loved us that much, he is not intentionally wanting us to be in pain. So it's the realization that we all have our days numbered before we were even born.
Right.
But we have the promise of heaven.
Yes.
And while we are here, we are meant to live with purpose.
I
Our
agree with
our
that.
pain doesn't negate our purpose.
I love that.
So we still have to keep living.
Keep going.
Yeah, we just need the right tools.
There you go.
We just need the right tools. Yeah.
There you go. So many people find themselves held hostage, right, by past experiences and or traumas. What are some of the first steps someone can take to start breaking free from the hold that these past events have on them?
The first step is getting in the right program.
Yep.
Um, and I say that because when my baby boy passed, I talked to counselors. I talked to everybody I could. The
Mm-hmm.
counselor, the psychologist, the psychiatrist. They gave me good coping skills, but it was
Mm-hmm.
nothing that made me start to hope again.
Right.
And so I did the grief recovery method and became a
Mm-hmm.
specialist because I was able to literally get the steps I needed. I was walked through the steps and
Mm-hmm.
given the tools. So the first thing that I want to tell people is acknowledge your pain.
That's right.
We don't acknowledge our pain. The
Mm-hmm.
more the emotions stay in here, the more toxic they become, the more weak you become. You have a right to feel how you feel.
That's right.
And the minute you own it, you have taken the first step because people, they don't want to feel it. They don't want to hurt,
Mm-hmm.
but it's part of the labor pain. You know,
Yes.
you're going to hurt. It's going to feel horrible. But on the other side of it,
On the other
it's
side.
freedom. That's where the freedom is. Because as long as you hold it here, you think you're keeping it under control, putting it in a chest, pushing it down. But no, it's really those emotions, those toxic emotions are holding you hostage.
Right.
But the minute you own it and the minute you start expressing it is the minute you start to experience the freedom.
That's
And
right.
what I ended up doing was I took what I learned there and I took the different jewels that God just laid on me and I put it together in a program that allows people to understand why they react the way they react, why they
Mm-hmm.
deal with different losses and grief the way they deal with it, and how they can truly break every chain because we're
Yes.
not meant to live like that. We are meant to live in freedom. So that first step, yes, is acknowledging because you can't do anything if you don't acknowledge it. You can't break free from it. You can't be healed from it until you come face to face with the fact that, yes, this is a problem.
Wow. I love it. You're speaking of me. This is a good word. Oh my goodness. So, can you share a story of someone who experienced a major breakthrough in their healing process, whether through grief, recovery, trauma, healing, or empowerment?
Yes, I sure can. I was actually just sharing this with my husband not long ago, so it's fresh in my mind. One of my clients, she lost her husband uh,
Hmm.
some years ago. I think maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. And she works in the medical profession. So she works at the hospital, and she stopped working after he passed away. And
Hmm.
but she still had to go there every month for some business.
Okay.
Every month, she told me, she said, every time I go there, she said, I leave there a blubbering fool. Because she couldn't go to the hospital without becoming because so her husband was a physician.
Okay.
Um, I left that out. So every time she would go, she would have these thoughts about him, the memories, and she would cry and say, everybody there is, they're loving on her and trying to comfort her. So
Hmm.
we go through the steps, and I never forget that first day, because I do it in a 2 or 3 day program environment, or duration. And she, after that first day, she said, I don't know, doc. And I told her, I was like, I bet, I'm telling you, you are going to sleep like a baby tonight, because the first day was just the acknowledgement day. And
Hmm.
when we met the next day, she said, I have not slept that well in the past 5 or 6 years. And so that was the beginning,
Um,
right? And
hmm.
so we go through the whole program, and she's at the end, she's happy. And she's like, I feel so great. She's like, I want to keep going. And, I'm telling her, okay, this is what, the next steps for you. And she comes to see me at my office, I want to say like a week or two later. And I see her on the camera, and I'm thinking, okay, like, what's happening? So I went and I met her in the lobby and said, hey, you okay? She's like, yes, I just had to come here. She said, guess where I just came from? Where? She said, I just came from the hospital. She said, she said, and doc, I went there. Everybody was just looking at me strange. And so she said, finally, I had to say, what's wrong? Why y'all looking at me like that? And they said, because you're not crying. She said,
Oh,
I didn't even realize that I was not emotional. She said, normally when I'm walking up or driving up to the hospital, it's already bombarding me. She said, I went, I took care of my business, and everybody was just looking at me and could not believe I wasn't crying. And so she's just so elated,
oh,
so elated. And still, so this was at least a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago. And still today, she is living. Before, she was existing.
oh,
Now she is living her life. And it's not, when I say living your life, it's not that you forget about your loved one, because, baby, I'm going to never forget about my baby.
right.
I still have my days when I cry. I still have days
Mhm.
when it's like, dang, I can't believe my baby is gone.
Right, right.
But it's the ability to have my moment. I'll cry it out,
Hmm. Hmm.
wash my face, and still be able to move on to that next step where I can live with purpose and impact lives. So she's impacting lives now. And I love
Oh,
it. It makes me feel so wonderful. Something happened and with another one of my patients, and they were telling me, thank God for her, because she came to the rescue. And I wanted to jump for joy, like, all right. Because look, she needed rescuing. And
yes.
now she's rescuing other people.
Good
This is
God.
what life is supposed to be. This is what our lives are supposed to be about. We were created to impact lives, but
There you
the
go.
devil wants us so weak, so
Hmm.
destroyed and shattered that we don't live with purpose.
That's right.
And if we don't, then we don't get to impact the lives that we were meant to impact.
That is
That's
so.
that's the game. if he can have us so focused on our loss, so focused on our grief, then
Mm,
he wins because we're so shattered and weak and destroyed by the pain, we
mm-hmm.
don't have enough strength to do anything.
That's true.
If we have the right tools,
I love it. Your words, oh my God, have been like uplifting, encouraging, and I just pray that someone when in the audience it touches at least one person.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. One.
If not
I'll
them,
take
it touched
even
me.
one.
Okay.
I am
Oh,
glad. I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that because
it's just a joy to have you here on today and just provide, just great words of wisdom.
yes, ma'am. I'm glad to share.
I love that. So what's next for you, Dr. Kim?
So, I mean, like I've been an internist since 2000. Um,
Hmm.
God has me on this new path that
Okay.
I'm still practicing, but being able to help people escape the chains of grief, escape
Hmm.
the bondage that so many of us are actually born into. Nobody asks for this,
That's right.
but we don't have to stay there. But unfortunately, we're living in a time, in a society
Hmm.
where so many have embraced it. I think
Hmm.
of it like this, like we're all born into a prison.
Right.
And we don't realize it because everybody is in the prison.
Hmm.
And then there are some of us, which I feel like God strategically placed people in different families. And you may be that one person, like you see the door, like, why are we just in here? Why we don't go out there? Because it looks really good out there.
Hmm.
Walk to the door and you realize, look, the door not even locked. And you walk out and you realize, oh, the air is better. It looks
Hmm.
better.
Hmm.
Opportunities are better. There's joy, peace, happiness. And you go back in like, hey, like, come on. We don't have to stay in here.
Hmm.
But what does that look like in our society? Oh, you think you're better than us.
There you go.
Oh, what? This isn't good. It was good enough for us. It's not good enough for you. Because people have been, ooh, brainwashed into believing that
Yes.
they should be happy with what they have.
Right.
And I have, let me tell you, the devil thought he had me. Look, Lisa, Lisa Page Brooks. The devil is a liar. Yeah, 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 yeah. The devil
Yes.
is a liar. The devil thought he had me, but I'm not
Hmm.
gonna lie. I thought the devil had me too, because I could not imagine surviving that.
I
Oh, but the
know.
good Lord. Oh, but God is so good.
Yes, he is.
And
Yes, he is.
if we trust God, He said that all things would work together for our good.
Good. Yes, yes.
All the good and the bad. So God has put me now in a place where I am on a mission to
Hmm.
break the chains,
All right.
get people from the prisons.
Oh,
Everybody that is being held hostage, I'm trying with everything that I have to free you because we are
mhm.
not meant to live in bondage. And so I have written a book.
I was going to touch on that. You're an author as well.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I want you to share information about your book as well.
Right here, Escaping the Chains of Grief. And it's a
Love it.
reminder. It's a reminder that grief is not just from losing a loved one. Grief
Right.
happens as a result of any loss. And what
Hmm.
I did in this book, um, God put me on a mission. Actually, first it was to protect those who lost a loved one, because people were on Facebook and other social media platforms saying things like, I know this woman who lost her daughter, and she would get on and say, I feel horrible today. Why my child? And people would get in her comments saying, you need to pray more. You need to go to church. And I'm like,
Mhm.
this has nothing to do with going to church and praying, because you can pray all day, all night. It's not going to make you stop missing your child or your loved one.
Right.
So I got on a mission of helping people understand what is just not acceptable to be said. You don't say I'm praying for you. What do
Right.
you need? And from there, I started trying to help people understand that you have a right to feel how you feel. You don't have to hide, because somewhere along the way, people who are grieving became the villains. And
Mm-hmm.
we are not the villains. People
Right.
have to stop being so intrusive and expecting you to just take whatever they're gonna give you. Well, you need to
Right.
talk about it. I don't need to do anything. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what this book is about. This book is about empowering people with the truth, empowering people to understand that you don't have to just accept those horrible tools that have been passed down, the ways of society, tired old traditions, the negatively inherited mindsets. We don't have to accept that.
That's
We
right.
we can take the things that have happened to us, and instead of allowing those things to mold us into these sad, I don't want to say pathetic, but it's almost like we have a pathetic life existence. But we
Yes.
don't have to accept that. We can still live empowered in,
Right.
in spite of the things that have happened to us. That's what this book is about. Giving
I
people the go ahead, permission to live life with purpose, and to just overcome the
mm-hmm.
losses and the grief, to live the life that God created them to live.
I love it. Now, where can they purchase your book?
So my website, it's on Amazon, but you can
Mm-hmm.
also get it from my website if you want an autograph copy. And it's DoctorKSD.com. You spell doctor out, DoctorKSD.com. And you can find the book there. You can find my programs there as well. The courses for getting over grief. I called it PAVE, the Path to Freedom. And it's a 2 or 3 day course. This one that we're about to do in a couple of weeks is a 2 day course. And it's
Okay.
virtual.
Nice.
It's virtual because you know what it is? It's very nice to meet in person.
Yes.
Right. This is a message that I feel God wants to go global, because people are hurting everywhere. And in this day and time, I really believe that, in the Bible, it tells us that the end of days, the beginning of the end of days is father against son, mother against daughter.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're seeing right now. So many people are hurting. So I
That's
don't
right.
want to just confine myself to here where I am. I want
Mm-hmm.
everybody who wants to be free to be able to have access to it. So yeah, so you can get all of that information on my website.
Awesome. Awesome. And what are your social media handles?
So I am Dr. KSD Evolved.
Mm-hmm.
And again, doctor is spelled out, but I am on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok.
Okay. Okay.
I
Do
need
you
help.
have any final words, my audience, Dr. Kim?
Final words would just simply be that you were created for a purpose. We're not
Yes.
meant to live downtrodden. We're not
Mm-hmm.
meant to live the life that somebody else wants us to live. And you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to settle for the life you have. And that doesn't matter what your race is, what your socioeconomic status is, because let me tell you this too, just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean that you are living life with purpose, and it doesn't mean that you're happy.
That's right.
So many people have settled for the life they have, but you can have the life you deserve. You
There you
you
go.
just have to take the first step, and that first step is getting the right tools, and getting the right tools begins with me.
All right. There you have it. Please follow her. She provided her social media handles, her website. You can purchase a book. I absolutely love
And
it.
merchandise and
And
merchandise.
merch. And merch.
Look, don't mind me. I'm just living in my purpose.
I love it. I love it. Well, again, Dr. Kim, I can't thank you enough.
And
Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for blessing us today
thank
with
you.
your inspiring words and encouragement.
I pray it helps somebody at least begin the path to a breakthrough. because we
Yes,
should be living in freedom.
absolutely. And I'm going to stay in contact with you.
Please, please do.
Yes, yes.
I'll be
Well,
fine.
before we leave, I would like to leave my listeners with my motto: when you see the need, plant the seed. And I
Amen.
hope you have a great evening.
You as well. And don't forget to live life with purpose on purpose.
Can't forget. Won't forget. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.